The people who internalize the motto of, "I do not believe unless I see," think that the realm of existence is made up of only material things that they perceive. By acting upon this, they deny the existence of angels and try to extinguish this truth, which is as bright as the sun, by such similar insane delusions. Since belief in angels is an indispensable rule of Islamic belief, it is, of course, very important and precious. By making this work, our aim is to silence disbelievers and refute their insane delusions by proving the truth of belief in angels, which was informed by the Qur'an and the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, with rationale, aqli, and reported, naqli, evidences, and also to service for the strengthening the belief of believers in angels. Help and grace are from Allah. Now let us look at the evidences that prove the existence of angels. Allah Almighty, who enlivened the world with living creatures in such a way, should definitely have enlivened the skies with angels. The fact that the world is a dwelling place for so many living beings and is full of living creatures, as there is no empty place in any corner of its land and seas, though it is small, proves that the stars of skies are not empty either. Those stars are enlivened with living beings just like the world, and filled up with creatures and inhabitants suitable to its living conditions. We can understand this proof better with the following example. Two friends, one of whom is a Bedouin and the other is civilized, come to a magnificent city like Istanbul. As they wander around that huge and magnificent city, they come across a dirty, poor, and small house, or a factory in a far corner of it. They see that the house is filled up with miserable and lazy men, and every corner of that place has been enlivened with creatures that have life and soul. However, they have different foods and life conditions peculiar to them. While some eat plant only, some eat fish, and others eat a different kind of thing. These two men, who have seen the scene described above, observe that there are thousands of decorated high palaces very far away. These two men cannot see the inhabitants of that place because of the distance or their weakness of sight. Besides, the life conditions that are present in that house do not exist in those palaces. One of them, who is the Bedouin, says, "Those palaces and mansions are empty and have no living creatures, since there is no sign of life and living conditions there." By thinking so, he makes the most nonsense speech ever. The second man says, "O miserable person, as you see, that small house is filled up with living creatures. Life spurts from its every corner. There is someone who refreshes them in every moment. He takes a caravan from there and sends a new one every day. He directs them wisely. Look, there is no empty place in any part of this house. Every corner has been enlivened with living creatures. Is it at all possible that the neat city seen from away, sapient decorations and artful palaces, have no peculiar sublime inhabitants, and those palaces be left empty? Definitely, those palaces are completely full and have life conditions appropriate for those who live within them. Yes, they may eat different food. Our inability to see them because of the distance or the weakness of our eyes and their invisibility to us can never be a proof that they do not exist. Not seeing something is not a proof that it does not exist. There are so many creatures, things, and events that their existence is above suspicion. Now, let us analyze the example given above. The magnificent city that is compared to Istanbul in the example is this realm and universe. One of those two men is a denier and an unbeliever. The other is a believer and a Muslim. The small house in the city is our residence and home, the world. The high palaces and decorated mansions which are seen from away are the stars, suns, and other planets of the skies. There are living beings in every part of that small house of the city in the example. Similarly, in every corner of our world, there are living creatures. As you can see, from the depth of 100 meters into the oceans to the inside of soil, from the air to the leaves of the trees, there are creatures peculiar to those places. Nowhere is left empty and lifeless. Like this example, our world is like a small house compared to stars and galaxies. Despite this, it was filled with living beings and became a home for living beings. Life was spurted from simple things like eggs, seeds, and water drops. Everything became a source of life. This state clearly proves that this endless space and the magnificent skies are full of suns, stars, constellations, and conscious creatures. The Qur'an names them as Melaike, angels. After seeing the earth being a home for endless living beings, despite its small size, it is impossible to think that those enormous stars are empty. The fact that this world is filled with endless living beings proves that Allah, who is the Sultan of this city of the world, gives importance to life, and He realizes most of the wisdoms behind the creation of this realm through living beings. In that case, how can He leave the enormous stars of the skies empty? That is, the existence of the angels is as definite as the existence of human beings and animals. The fact that this world is filled with endless living beings, despite its small size compared to the sky, and that it is sometimes emptied and enlivened with new beings proves that the skies that have magnificent constellations are full of living beings. Those living beings, like human beings and jinn, are the spectators of the palace of the universe, the observers of the book of creation, and the heralds of the divine sovereignty.